Welcome back to Primetime News, and a special welcome to those of you watching online at onespotmedia.com. We begin this evening with a developing story. The man who is believed to be the chief suspect in a gun attack this morning, which left 2 policemen dead and another 2 injured, was shot and killed following a police operation in Corville Garden, St. Andrew this afternoon. TVJ News understands that a policeman was also shot in this afternoon's operation. His condition is not life-threatening. A 9mm pistol was reportedly seized. We caught up with Chairman of the Police Federation, Sergeant Patrick Rowe, at the Kingston Public Hospital, where he spoke about this afternoon's incident.
We were sufficiently provoked, and our response was to relentlessly pursue those persons who we believe, based on proper investigation, were involved in this incident, and within a few hours, our efforts yielded fruit. So this is an indication to all those persons who are intent on injuring our colleagues or confronting the police will never back down. Even when you take out one of us, we will go harder.
To this morning's incident now, which happened in Horizon Park in St. Catherine. Police and gunmen traded bullets in an early morning operation. When the smoke cleared, 4 policemen were shot, 2 fatally. The deceased are Corporal Dane Biggs and Constable Ricardo Hilton. The superintendent who led the operation, Leon Clunis, and a constable are currently in hospital in critical condition. The police commissioner was among scores of senior members of the Jamaica Constabulary Force who visited the crime scene this morning. Kirk Wright reports.
The security forces saturated Queen's Drive in Horizon Park in St. Catherine after 4 policemen were shot during a pre-dawn operation in the community to find gunmen. A police team went sometime before 5 a.m. this morning on Queen's Drive in what the police commissioner says was an intelligence-driven operation.
There was a firefight, and 4 of our members were shot, of which 2 have succumbed to their injuries. And certainly my condolences goes out to the families of those officers.
Sources tell us a heavily armed man with an M16 rifle surprised the police team, firing a barrage of shots at them, hitting 4 of the police officers. The police commissioner says 11 police personnel went on the operation. Security Minister Dr. Horace Chang is among several persons who say such unusual incident in Horizon Park is an eye-opener.
This is a community that driving by, nobody would have expected to come into a gang activity. So the intelligence unit in Spanish Town was doing the job.
The police commissioner and the security minister say the police team had an idea what they were up against from the intelligence they had.
We had information that there were a number of some gunmen with weapons, high-powered weapons here.
They didn't expect that kind of reaction. It's not the kind of thing you anticipate, even this, with the kind of crime background we have in Jamaica.
But we asked the police commissioner if the police team was caught off guard.
They were not caught off guard. There's no indication of that. Whenever we go into an operation, we have to take due care.
But based on Dr. Chang's pronouncement, it appears that the police team that went in search of the gunmen somehow let down their guard.
They knew there was someone here. They didn't expect that kind of reaction. It's not the kind of thing you anticipate, even this, with the kind of crime background we have in Jamaica. Men or men were armed with high-powered weapons. An M16 at that range can tear through pretty much anything that we have in normal circumstances. We'd have to have the men prepared for high-powered, high-velocity combat situation. And they were in a residential community. They knew they could face problems, but not that level.
Blood-stained trails on the scene indicate that someone other than the police was shot in the crossfire. The police are using dogs to follow that trail. They have also seized an M16 rifle from the scene and a car they believe is linked to the shooting. They've also seized an M16 rifle from the scene and a car they believe is linked to the shooting. A visibly upset Wayne Cameron, who chairs the Police Officers Association, says the rules of engagement have to be looked at.
There are in many parts of Jamaica today, there are people who feel that we should go and hold these men by their hands, gunmen, by their hands, and take them in. I don't know how to do that. That approach has never been taught to us. And this is a glaring example of the kind of violent society we operate in as law enforcement officers. And so the rules of engagement, I am sure that we will have to look back at that again and going forward, just to ensure that we can protect our members.
So about 11 hours later, the suspect was cornered here on Whalers Avenue in Corville Gardens, where he was shot after it said that he fired at the police. We understand too that a firearm was recovered. Kirk Wright, TVJ News.
Meanwhile, though saddened by today's incident, the Jamaica Police Federation says its members remain committed to the fight against crime and violence. TVJ News spoke with the Federation's chairman, Patricia Rowe, who was also at the crime scene. Kalisha Williams has that story.
A police force in mourning.
I'm very perturbed by the fact that we would have lost 2 policemen in one shooting incident. An officer is critical, and another one is still lying there on bed with wounds treated.
Sadness and grief, the order of the day, as news spread about the tragic incident in Horizon Park, St. Catherine. Scores gathered at the scene to lend their support to the family and friends of the fallen policemen. Chairman of the Police Federation, Detective Sergeant Patricia Rowe, said the 2 officers who died were among the most dedicated in the force and will be truly missed.
It is indeed a extremely sad morning for us as a constabulary. Our members are saddened by the loss of 2 of our colleagues. 2 members we know very well. As a police federation, we know them very well. I personally have worked with one of them over the years. And 2 fine police officers we lost this morning. But it has not weakened us, it has strengthened our resolve as a constabulary.
And at a time when there have been heated protests over police brutality in Jamaica and across the world, Detective Sergeant Rowe is appealing to the public to throw its full support behind the police force.
We will be unrelenting in our pursuit to find those persons who are responsible for the shooting death of our colleagues this morning. Certainly, we invite the Jamaican people to come out against the criminals in this country who are putting our colleagues in harm's danger and are making Jamaica an unsafe place for law-abiding citizens. These police officers left their families, left their houses to serve, protect and reassure the people of Jamaica and were killed because of it.
From the scene to the Spanish Town Hospital, where the injured cops were taken for treatment. Again, members of the political directorate, police and military personnel gathered, many observing from a distance as they tried to get an update on their colleagues' health status.
It was a very, very moving experience to see the bodies of the young JCF officers who were struck down and the relatives of those officers and the relatives of the Superintendent Clunis, who is in surgery, and the JCF personnel who are injured and battling, who are in hospital and who I hope will have a full recovery.
It's been hours and Superintendent Leon Clunis is still undergoing surgery at the Spanish Town Hospital in St. Catherine. I'm just outside the Accident and Emergency Department and I was told right now he's in need of blood as the doctors are trying assiduously to save his life. In the meantime, Prime Minister Andrew Holness has also expressed sadness and condemnation over the deadly incident and has promised support to the families. In a statement today, Mr. Holness said the killing of the law enforcement officers is an immeasurable tragedy and the government will not rest until the perpetrators are brought to justice. Kalisha Williams, TVJ News.